everybody. How's it going? Hope you're all well. Hang on, let me get situated here. Hello. Howdy. Let's see. Let me flip around so I can see some chattage. Okay. All right. Freddie, Garen, Andy, Dr. Felix, Edward M, Dr. Bajina, hey, Viral Beats. Let's see, Garen, Mr. Hopkins, and hey, the Electronic Composer. Old Great Synth Sage? Yeah, no. Will Esplin, Isaac Ensig, Country Fair 74. Hey there. I think you've been here before. You look familiar. There's Doug. All right. Cool. So, what are we doing today? Today's going to be, might be a long one today. So I wanted to give an update on what's going on with the music, the album. The work is going well. I've got a little distracted by the Multipooly showing up. Saw that video last weekend. And so what I wanted to do today was continue that just to get it out of my system. I'll talk about the album in a second, but after we talk about that, I have 4 Korgs here. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'll move the camera around as needed. And what I was going to do is literally build a patch on each one. And I do most of my patch creation. I should probably kill this. There we go. I'll bring it way down. I do most of my patch creation in the software instruments. So my use of the hardware is limited mostly to loading the stuff that I built on the couch in the native stuff, and then tweaking performance controls. So I'm going to actually endeavor to build a patch from scratch on each one of these, which I might have to dig around in the manual. Okay, so that's what we're going to do today. And so feel free to come and go. I know this can be boring, but I'm going to talk over it a lot and take suggestions from you guys to a degree. But that's the plan. So before we get into that, what you're hearing is what I do when I'm building an album. What I'll often do is I'll have a lot of sketches that I'm working with. I've got 14 sketches at this point for the upcoming album. And what I tend to do is I take 1-minute snippets of them, sort of get them, spliced together, and then start screwing with the order. So I decide what's the order of the tracks that I want? Does the tempo and the key of each track blend from the end of one into the other? And does it work? And so basically I've got this 17-minute piece of music now that's got 14 sort of one-ish minute tracks in it. And it gives me the shape of the album, and then lets me start doing titling, figuring out what the story is for each piece of music, what the overall theme of the album is, thing like that. So anyway, so that's what you're listening to here. I don't think, I think I could show it to you. Hold on a second. Let's see. Hang on a second. Let me mess with the system while you listen to these. These are the snippets of the upcoming album. Hang on a minute. Yeah, so I started playing at the beginning. If you want to hear all the bits, you can go to the beginning to hear it. But basically, I've spliced them all together into these 1-minute pieces. And then I can use this to decide whether or not the emotional roller coaster ride that is the album makes sense, right? And make sure that each piece leans into the next one in a way that I find pleasing, right? That's sort of the mechanism that we do. Let's see, Doug. Is it Doug? Yeah. Doug asks, what does that display in the background? iPhone 95 pushpads calculus? I don't know. Hold on, I'll look at that in a minute. Anyway, so this is what this is. So anyway, we don't need to hear the whole thing. That's more for my benefit than yours. All right. So let's see. As you can see, I have the manuals open. All right. So here we go back here. Oh, and Doug, are you asking about, yeah, you're asking about the little things in the background. That's the streaming software in the background. Those are the different scenes or shots that are set up. So it sort of leaks through. I have a giant monitor behind the Opsix. So like, here's the Opsix, big old monitor back here. That's what I look at because my old blind eyes need something really humongous to look at. That's what those are. All right. Andy forgot to hit the thumbs up. You don't have to hit the thumbs up, Andy. It's all good. All right, so let's get started. So here's the Opsix. Opsix is an FM synth. I'm going to go through them in a particular order. I'm going to go Opsix, then Wavestate down below, Modwave, Multipooly, because that's sort of the order. The Opsix is the really black sheep, odd one out. The Wavestate is also on the weird side, although it starts to exhibit behaviors that you'll see again in the Modwave and the Multipooly. Then the Modwave is sort of like, it's not less than the Multipooly, it's different, but there's a lot of overlap. And then we'll do the Multipooly at the end. Okay. Let's see. All right, so let's get started. I have, you don't need to see my fingers on this one, except when I'm touching things. So this is a knit patch FM. A knit patch is just a sine wave. So for, if you have questions, everyone who's here is like a member of the Peanut Gallery. So you know how it works basically. So tag me if you have a question, or put big capital Qs if you're on mobile and it's a pain in the butt to tag. But anyway, so 6-operator FM synth. If anyone here is an expert in 6-operator FM synths, please feel free to give me efficiency tips as I'm going through. But the thing I like about the Opsix that makes it different from all the other FM synths that I've ever used is that you don't have to just work with sine waves, right? So it's not set up. I'm not zooming in so you can get detail here. This is really so that you see some motion as you're listening. Something's moving in the foreground to entertain you. And so I don't know how high def this is, if you can even read this display for glare and things like that. But when we move through the algorithms, these little shapes of these boxes, this is how the operators are linked together. I'm not doing a tutorial on what FM synthesis is, okay? But what I'm going to do is I'm going to say you can dial in on the Opsix a very nice algorithm that looks like this, where every operator is just its own waveform. So you can think of this configuration where they're all in a line as a 6-oscillator FM synth. Okay. All right. It's pretty good, Andy. Good. This is a really, I think this is like a 4-year-old iPhone. So I don't know. We'll see. Isaac says the Opsix is cool because it can also just do subtractive. Yeah, that's what I'm going to demonstrate here. And then we'll start tweaking. We'll change the algorithm. So we'll set up basically a 6-oscillator FM subtractive patch, and then we'll just dial in different algorithms to see what it does mangle-wise. All right. So these are the levels of the oscillators. So no sound. Think of that as oscillator 1. They're all the same sign, perfectly in pitch with each other, more or less. All right. So let's change this. It doesn't have to be sine wave. It can be lots of other waves. So let's see. If I go to mode, and this says that oscillator or operator 1 is currently a sine wave. Well, there's lots of variants. You do triangles, all the usual, analog suspects, saw, a high def saw, whatever the heck that means. We can RTFM, but square, and then additive things. Right, started. It's fundamental plus harmonic series. And noise. Various flavors. So let's go back to, we'll be boring. We'll say saw. All right, so we'll go with the saw. Korg Shenanigans has a Yamaha TZ81Z right here. 16x2 character LCD. Isn't that like a half rack? It's like a half rack 1U high sound module. Is that what that one was? Korg Shenanigans? Was that a full rack? Is it the multi-timbral one? It's got like 16 parts. Anyway, you let me know. So we've dialed in a saw. Okay. Full 19-inch 1U. Okay. That sounds like that's the bigger brother of the one that I had. Mine was like a tone generator. Maybe it wasn't TZ, it was TG or something like that. All right, so we've got a saw on operator 1, which is effectively oscillator 1. So let's turn that down. We'll turn oscillator 2 up. And we'll do the same thing. I bet there's a way to copy paste this across all the operators, but oops, there we go. But I don't know what it is, so we'll worry about that. Saw, good. Next one. Actually, well, we've just got 2. Okay, so there's 1, 2, all right. Let's go bring them up. Now these knobs you can use to change their octave, or rather their pitch. Here, we'll do this one. Right? And some people say, well, why does this go so low? We get down to the point where it's clicking, right? Why would you want an oscillator to go so low? Well, because you can use these to modulate other things, right? That's the whole point of FM synthesis. We'll get to that. So, but for now, all right. There. Let's detune them slightly. Let's see. If we go to, I think it's pitch, and then we detune it. Oh, I'm detuning the wrong one. I'm detuning an oscillator that's not making any noise. Operator. There we go. Look, it's the classic, if boring, sound of 2 detuned saw waves. Hey, Harmonic Sonics. All right. Yeah, so we're going to make a patch on all of the Korg synths today. So here we are. We've got 2 sawtooth oscillators, slightly detuned. All right. So let's go play with our filter. All right. So what kind of filter do we want? Let's see, 12. This is a 12 dB low pass filter. Make it a 24. It's on. You can turn the filters off. Bring the cutoff down. As always, we should do a nice resonant filter sweep. If it sounds steppy, it's because I'm turning it in steps. Anyway. All right, so our filter's down. Our resonance is up. Our filter cutoff's down, resonance is up. Let's add some envelope to this. This is this knob over here. Let's go look at our envelope for the filter. That's this one here. I think what's the longest? 90 seconds is the longest envelope time. So 90 seconds for a decay. I don't have very many synths that can make it that long. All right. Let's do that. All right, so this sounds kind of boring. How do we make it better? Well, we put some effects on it. How do we make any synth better? We add reverb and delay. Let's see. The reverb level. So the reverb on the Opsix is okay. Not great. I think they sound a little tinny. Normally I use an external reverb in my DAW that I'm feeding it through. Well, that's not bad. It'll do. Let's see. Andy asks, do you have control over envelope shape? Yeah, totally. So let me go back. So I don't know if you could see this here, but this tiny little thing is the, no, wait. There we go. This little thing, we bring the sustain up. See the sustain, so our attack, decay, sustain, release. I just had the sustain all the way down. Yeah, you can. It's got an ADSR basically. All right. Do you have control? You mean, can you modulate it? If you can, yes. Let me see. Actually, we can double check that. Hang on a sec. Let me look in the manual. The Spanish love story in a novel that comes with every synth is the story of Manuel and his deep love of Ossie, the oscillator. Let's see. Control sources are all our EGs, and our destinations can be, let's see if you can change the envelope times. Yes, Andy, you can change attack decay, release time, sustain level. Yeah, you have full manipulative control over the envelopes from, they are destinations for all of the modulation. So, oh, linear logarithmic? I don't know. Let's see. It's faster for me to look up in the manual than it is to fumble around in front of synth. It's not obvious. So, hang on a sec. Envelope. Here we go. Yes, they are. So you can affect the curve. You can go from some kind of exponential to some kind of logarithmic. All right, so it says in the manual you can. So let's go back and look. Let's dig around. We got some time. Oh, it's right here, curve. All right, so let's say, so this is our decay. Set our decay to 5, and then curve, it's currently linear. And if I go positive, it goes towards exponential. There are only 1, 2, 3, 4. There are only 10 degrees of shape from linear to exponential, and then from linear, it's just linear to exponential. So yes, you can control the curve somewhat, but so if we bring it up to a full, right? So quick fall. Let's see what it's like on the, and that's for all curves, I think. Yeah. Actually, it's only on decay. It looks like it's not changing the shape of the attack. It's only on the decay. Ooh, but it sounds like it is. Hold on a second. No, it's only on the decay. So, not infinitely configurable, but good enough. Yeah, good to know. All right, what was I doing? Oh, I was making it less boring. So a little reverb and put a little decay on it. A little delay on it as well. Let's see. And Korg doesn't skimp here. There's a whole lot of stuff in here. Anything from panning. We have modulation effects. So what? Chorus, unison, chorison, phasers, panning, all of flanging, all of these tempo syncable. A rotary speaker. I like rotary speakers, like on organs. I used to sell organs for a living. And I like, a rotating speaker. It sounds awesome. But emulations thereof are usually lacking. I'm not even going to try it right now. I don't know what an exciter is as far as this is concerned. I'll have to look it up. Like the difference between exciter and enhancer. I don't know, maybe some kind of smile curve, or maybe it's like BBE algorithm. But I'm looking for delay. Grain shifter. A little delay. Is there a tape delay? There is, tape echo. Let's do that. All right. So ensemble enabled. Okay, it's on. It's a tape delay. Here's its level. Bring the feedback up a bit. There you go. We'll damp it a little bit. And give it more feedback. Not bad. What's the maximum delay time? 2.7 seconds. Get something Berlin schooly. Hang on a minute. Actually, I have too much reverb. Whoops. Too much reverb. All right, so. Not bad. All right, so let's do something more interesting to it. If we go to too much reverb, no such thing. I know. Too much of a tinny canny reverb. Let's do this. Let's add another. We'll add another operator, oscillator, or I should do oscillator, which is an operator. And we will change it to square. And we'll drop it an octave. Adjust its level. Not bad. Hey, Bass Bus. Yeah, today we're demoing some patch creation on the 4 Korg synths that are based on Raspberry Pis that I have access to. I don't have a King Korg Neo. Let's do a 3 oscillator thing. In the Moog style, 3 octaves worth of oscillators. So we'll do one more. Make this one a square as well. Drop it 2 octaves. And we need to tame it with the filter a bit. It's very, very mono. Let's add some chorus. Back to our filter, open it up a little bit more. Not bad. Anyway, so the Opsix being an FM synth, right? You could still get subtractive FM kind of stuff on it. And I'm not even getting into so as far as like a mod matrix is concerned, like there's lots of normalized routing between things, but there's also this thing called virtual patches. And you've got 12 slots basically. You put a source destination. So it's basically a 12 slot mod matrix with a bunch of normalized things. What are these currently? I don't think they're, well, and this is the init patch, so they're not doing anything, right? So Let us see. Conductive. Hello. Yeah, some Sunday Korg action. Insert your adult film industry taglines here. Hot Korg action. Or you could do a Michael Bay sort of exploding action adventure thing. Right? They broke his power supply. Stepped on his mouse. They unpatched his modular. No! Okay. Goofy time. Anyway. So, all right. So we've got 4 operators doing something. So let's go crazy and go back to our algorithm page. So these are set up so that each of these operators acts like an individual oscillator. So now we can go through the algorithms and it'll start altering how they're configured so that some of them, you don't hear all of them. Some of them simply modulate the other ones. And weird things should ensue. Anyway, you can save this patch. I'd love to look through it in Opsix native. Yes, let's see. I believe we click right. Oh no, this is the worst. See, this is why I use all the native stuff because who likes to spell patch names like this? Oh my God, please kill me now. Yeah, Doug, just watch the video and follow the steps. All right, fine. I'll do this just once. Let's see. That's my letter. It's shift to switch the character set. No, I don't want to do that. Date entry plus page to select characters. Okay. Okay, that's not so bad. Shift plus character select will delete or insert. Okay. Shift plus character select? Oh, I see. Okay. Okay. No, that's not so bad. Okay. I can deal with that. What do we call this? We'll call this and it's going to be all caps. We're going to call this dumb. I could spell. Yeah. Let's see. D. It's like a gorilla trying to program. All right. We'll call it dumb saw. Okay. And then I think we just click right. Right destination 7 to 7. Oh, I'm going to overwrite one of the things. Oh, that's fine. I can live with that. Okay. So I'll try and export that, Doug, and send it your way. Okay. Anyway. Oh, itinerant ghost. Hey there. If anyone else snuck in, I wasn't paying attention. Hello. All right. So this is this. So let's go back to the algorithms and let's mess with it. So if we change this, so we know that 1, 2, 3, and 4 are acting as oscillators. So if let's start at the very beginning. All right. So this has 1 is an oscillator. 3 is effectively an oscillator. 2 is modulating 1, and then 4, 5, and 6 are modulating 3, and there's some feedback there. So what does this sound like? Now everything are still saws, okay? These aren't sine waves. Interesting. Here, we'll bring it down. So there's my 1. And if I don't bring up the level of oscillator 2, I play with the octaves. So if I'm bringing the pitch of the second operator way down, it's down like clicking low frequency oscillator territory. If I take it up, it gets metallic in an unpleasant way. Oh, that's very unpleasant. Now let's just listen to the other ones. So now this one, this is that square sub that I did. And this is an octave below it. And it's modulating this one. Interesting, very metallic. Let's drive through another... this is where the feedback is. I'm not really doing anything. I'm just going to walk through some algorithms to see what happens with given the current settings that we have. It's like hitting random. Well, let's see what changes to. I just realized the delay is mono. Ooh, we're getting ugly. Anyway, so this is me. So we've made a patch on the Opsix, okay? Started with like a basic subtractive patch, but we explored. It was good. All right, so let's move down to the Wavestate. So I'm low-teching it. I only have the one camera, well, two, but I've only got one camera actively looking at this now. So we're gonna come down. We're gonna do this. All right, hold on. I can't see what I'm transmitting. 1 second. It's not bad. Come here, you. Get to look at my feet and my carpet. All right. So let's flip over and talk to the Wavestate. Hello. All right, let's get into knit performance, shall we? All right, so this thing's weird. Like, FM is weird too, right? And, you know, subtractive synthesis and flavors thereof are, okay. This one's truly just different, okay? The way this works is, you could get it to behave like a subtractive synth, but what it really wants to do is it works with samples. And you can say, okay, only use this play this sine wave sample or play this sawtooth sample, and it'll do its thing, and you can apply filters and all that good stuff. But what it brings to the table that most other synths don't do is that you can specify up to 64 samples. So you know how wavetables have waveforms, and you can have n number of waveforms depending on the synth, and you can morph between those waveforms. Well, instead of waveforms, take bigger bites of life and take a sample of an instrument, of a sound, and take up to 64 of those and morph between those. I wouldn't even call it morphing. It's not like it's timbral morphing. It's more like crossfading between them. And you could do that like rhythmically with weird timing and all sorts of interesting things. That's why this synth is interesting, at least to me, because you can sequence series of samples. So if you love that D50 sound from the 80s called like, I don't know, it's called like digital dance or something like that. It's like the crazy, you know, with this looped rhythm thing going underneath it. If you love that, you'll like a Wavestate. All right. Let's see. All right, cool. So this is the init patch. All right. So the init patch is crossfading between two slots. This init patch is set up to just have two slots. All right, we can add more. Let's do that. We'll get that out of the way right now. Let's do, let's see if I remember correctly. We can do this from any, I think I can do this from anywhere. Hold on, nope, maybe I have to do it from the timing line. Yeah, Okay, so from the timing lane, yeah, there is not menu diving, but there is page diving. You go to this utility menu and you say, okay, what do I want to do here? I want to, so go back, burp. And I want to add steps. Add steps to the end? Yeah. How many do I want to add? I want to add, well, we'll do 4. So we'll add 2 more. There's 2 in there. We'll add 2 more. That'll give us 4. All right. So now I've got 4 steps sort of dimly lit up. All right. So my timing lane says I'm going to start on the first slot and I'm going to walk across to the 4th slot. That's what's happening. If I go to my sample page, it says you are starting at 1 and ending at 2. Well, we don't want to do that. We want to start at 1 and end at 4. Where is it? Hello? What happened? Oh, you know what? I added 4 steps to the timing lane, but you got to add it to the, meant to add it to the sample lane. Sorry, hold on. Bink, bink. So again, this synth is an RTFM synth. There is no winging it on this synth. Okay, there. My sample, I'm in the sample lane, and there are 4 slots available. And so what's in these slots? So this first one is a JP sine wave. Let's go back. It's looping from 1 to 1. I want it to go to 4. There we go. Thank you. So what's in these lanes? So JP sine wave, a chroma saw, another chroma saw, another chroma saw. So let's just change these samples. So we'll start with, let's get something nice and paddy. Let's see. Nope, too far. I know I've got some pad stuff in here somewhere. Like this one. Let's do this. Okay, I've locked it to that sample, to this slot. And these are samples that are in the synth. Let's see, is there a pad? Yeah. All right, so we'll use this one, Aerostorm. So Aerostorm is loaded into slot 1. All right, and we'll go slot 2. Let's see, oop, too far. There's actually too many samples in here. Okay, so that was Aerostorm. We'll try. Nah. All right, Earth. That's in slot 2. So this is similar to, on a Hydra synth, picking your waveforms in the wave. Those you could pick the 8 waveforms on the Hydra synth. Let's see. Oh wait, Harmonic Sonic says I've cross-faded Wavestate samples with real acoustic instruments and called it a real wavetable. Okay. Conductive says I really want to get a Wavestate and a Modwave, but I'm running out of bandwidth in my brain to learn them. What can I say, man? And yeah, it's 100% RTFM for sure. And Doug says, is the Wavestate best with wave sequences of more than one sample, or can it work well with a single sample? Well, either or. Depends on what you're shooting for, right? Because some of the samples are just instruments, like you want to play a piano, just one piano, you're good to go. Where was I? Oh, let's pick another one here. I know my FDPD. That's interesting. We'll do that one. And then our 4th one will be, there's probably a way to quickly jump to or maintain or copy across or something like that, but I'm just not there yet. I do most of my programming on the couch, on the native. And that'll work. Okay, so we've got 4 samples. This one, this one, this one, and this one. All right. So now, if I play something. All right, so you hear that crossfading across? All right, interesting, not necessarily great. Let's turn the reverb on. And give it a little more depth. Give it a little bit more size. Give it a little bit more time. Oop. Hang on. Yeah, and give it a little more time. All right. Again, Wavestates, you don't have to, their effects have presets themselves. Like, so I could go in and like go to, here, let's do that. Rich Hall is the one I started with, but there are others. Pretty sure there's one that's called like absurdly long reverb or something like that. Ultimate Vega Star. No, more, bigger. Whale song, like humpback whale song. Actually, I'm going to stay with that, and let's make it wet and see what happens. I don't think it's that long. Let's see. I want it to go for a long time. Is there a granulator in there? Probably. I don't know. Let's see. Hang on. Again, if you ask me a question, a deep question about the synth, and since I'm using the hardware and not the software, I will default to quickly looking in the manual. Let's see. Let me see. Effects, delay, reverb. Okay, so effects are lots of different distortions, decimator, EQ, compression, several different compressors, ring mod, tremolo. There's a wave shaper. What did you ask about? Because then it got a granulator. I don't think it's doing the granular sampling and then mangling. No. Then we've got like modulation effects, chorus, flange, vibrato, all of those. And then various delays and then reverb. So no granulator in there. But you can always stick one of those on the end of the effects chain in your software or use a pedal. Let's see. Conductive asks, do you have the native versions for all the synths? Yes, I do. So why do I love these synths? Why am I being all gaga about them? These Korgs, Opsix, Wavestate, Modwave, and now Multipooly have native versions that are identical and patch compatible. So what that means is I sit in my butt on the couch with my wife at night, and she watches bad TV, and I put my headphones on, and I make sounds. And then when I want to be inspired, when I want to touch knobs, I load those sounds onto the gear and play and have a good time with it. But when I'm working, like doing composing, I tend to compose on the couch. So it's nice to have those sounds in digital form, the native form. Because I can save my state, save my project, load it up. Everything remembers exactly where it was. If I was tweaking knobs or something, I don't even have to save my presets. I save my project and boom, everything's saved. I love that workflow. So yeah, I have the digital versions. If you buy the hardware, you get the digital ones for, I think, $50 a pop. I wish it was free, but $50 is still better than $200. And I bought these, 3 of these I bought, the Opsix, the Wavestate, and the Modwave. I bought used broken. They had broken key beds, and I converted them to not have key beds. I turned them into these sort of not quite bigger than rack, but rackable-ish. And then the Multipooly, I actually bought the rack version. So I hope that answers conductive. You can kind of do granular on the Wavestate by adjusting sample step position with LFOs. Oh, I'll have to explore that harmonic. There's a really good collection from Korg for the software version that says Chozilla. Hey, Chozilla, are you new? Welcome. Wait for Black Friday. that's true for most people, right? Always wait for Black Friday unless you have terrible gas and you got to have it now. So, all right, then we got to the granulator question, and then got yours used. Doug says if you already have the native versions, the rack would be redundant. Well, yeah, I mean it is redundant to a degree, but some people are really inspired by touching knobs and sliders, right? So that's fine. The key bed on these was not great. Everyone complained about them. The key bed on the Multipooly, Garen, if you're still in here, you can speak to that, or anyone else who bought a Multipooly in the last 6 months or whenever it came out. If you like the key bed, speak up. I have not laid my hands on one, so I have the rack hardware, so it is what it is. All right, where was I? So, all right, so we put a little reverb on there, and we'll add some delay. All right, that'll work. So we've got these samples. Let's bring it up an octave. Right, and they're crossfading. What do we want to change that crossfade? Let's turn it off. Let's see, where is that? Nope. Where's the crossfade amount? Sample. I think it's in here. Thought it was in here. Hang on. There is a crossfade amount that is currently probably set to 100% or some time amount that isn't metrical time. Maybe it's on the timing lane. Here it is. Crossfade time is in time. Crossfade time is currently 0.8 seconds. So if I turn this down to nothing, you can hear the abrupt transitions between samples. And maybe you want that because you can load samples of drum stuff, right? So you could put drum hits in there as samples and then sequence them, and do a little, that's how people lay down a layer that's got, a drum part on it, right? Because you could do it as metrical stuff instead of percentage, instead of decimal seconds, you could do 16th note, quarter note, etc. But let me turn this back up. Let me turn it up further than where it was. That's better. I don't like to hear for at least for a pad. We don't want any sort of obvious transition. We want it to be spread out a lot more. All right, and then turn the chorus on. All right. Now let's do something else with the filter. So now that we've got these samples set up here, right, we can treat the filter as a filter, right? Right. Let's bring our cutoff down, bring our envelope intensity up. And we'll mess with our filter envelope. So there's filter, amp, pitch, and vector. I haven't messed with vector, right? So all the classics plus the vector, I think, is for vector, our joystick. I'm not sure. There's an RTFN moment. What does vector do? I don't know. Let's bring our attack and decay. Let's make our attack about. Filter envelope, bring our filter down. One thing I like about the Wavestate is the filters can go negative. The envelopes can go negative. I don't know if you can see this or not, but the dotted line is the 0 line, right? So if I leave it at 0, and then I sustain, and I open my filter a bit. All right. So now, when it sustains, we'll still hear it a little bit because my filter's like open about 50%. And so, but maybe I like the brightness of this initial peak, and then I want the sustain to actually silence it. You could take the sustain to negative territory and it will actually shut up. Right? Which is nice. Anyway, let's see, looking at the chat. Talking about gas. Care to share your Eurorack setup in the future, Chozilla? Yeah, I will eventually. It's in transition right now. It's there's a matriarch with some modules being worked on, and I am. It's like there as furniture currently, and I'll get back to it. But I have one module. It's one of those situations where I have a particular module. It's a MIDI to CV conversion module, and it's not behaving as it should, at least in the documentation. So either I'm misunderstanding the documentation, or the documentation is wrong, or something's wrong with the module, and that's frustrating. And so what happens when we have frustrating side projects, we kind of set them aside and ignore them for a little bit. So that's what's happening with that. Once I'm really focusing on getting this album done. And then once the album's done, I'll get back to that, because there's a whole analog side of the room that I miss, right? Today I was like looking at the mini mode going, how can I get that into the mix today? But honestly, it would just be a distraction. So, but yeah, we'll get there. Isaac says, as someone who doesn't have any keyboards, the keybed on the Opsix is just fine. There you go. So any keybed is better than no keybed, right? And Garen answered, Multipooly keybed is better, but still not fantastic. Still too light. But that could be easy to fix. What is it? You just glue weights to the bottom or something? Or put heavier springs in it? Or a bit of both? Yeah, the nice thing about these conversion cases is you get to keep the mod wheel and the pitch wheel. The rack ones don't have it. So, but the rack one fits in a 19-inch rack, and these don't really, unless you like surface mount them to the 19-inch rack. Like you could put rails in and then, I don't know, attach them to the back of the casing. Someone did that. Someone was telling me in one of the previous streams. And vector is joystick control. I think so too. Maybe you know for sure in Korg Shenanigans. Chozilla is building your first rack at the moment. Not sure if that was a wise choice. Well, I mean, you know, my kid was 8 when I started building my first Euro rack system, and he's 22 now, and happy and moved out. So, you know, Euro rack did not destroy my child's life, as some warn that could happen. So I don't know. Anyway, so this is a taste of what you can do on a Wavestate, right? It's different than a straight FM synth, because you're setting up samples, sequencing them if you choose, or just having one sample and use something out of the sample library. And you can add your own samples and things like that. It's totally flexible. It's open-ended, right? You're not locked in. I'm not a fan of synths where they say, and it has samples, but you can't add to them. It's very frustrating. So Giselle says, I think I will not have any kids because of that Eurorack. You may not have. Do you have a significant other? That might be a limiting factor. Having a Eurorack addiction may, prevent you from like dating. But Doug says, thanks for the tip on the console fade time between waves. Okay, give it a whirl, Merle. It'll all be good. Anyway, so that is Wavestate. All right, where are we at? Oh, we're at 3:00. So I said this one was going to go a little long, right? So we're halfway there. Took an hour. So figure we'll do this for another hour. All right, I'm going to reposition the camera, very high tech. Watch this, pan, tilt, zoom. Imagine that it's being done by a robot and not my fingers. There we go. See my fingers. That's PTZ, organic, truly organic PTZ. Viral says he's still not bored. Okay, thank you. Maybe I should do... I would say we'll apply some sort of effect to my voice that makes it really annoying. I'll drop some sort of timbral delay on my voice that makes it hard to understand. All right, so Modwave. All right, let's talk about the Modwave. Hang on a second. Let's bring up the level ever so slightly. Hang on, I need 6 dB, please. All right, there we go. All right, so Modwave. I think I will do that. There's one thing I wanted to show you guys. Hang on one second. And that is Wavestate. Where is the thing? There, this thing. Okay. I didn't get into the timbrality of things. Okay, but I want to show you the Wavestate versus the Modwave. Okay, just to clarify what's going on here, let me point you at a manual. If you don't like manuals, run away. It might get scary here. I'm going to expose you to a manual. So if you're an anti-RTFM guy, hang in there. Strap in. Here we go. Okay, so I don't know if you can read this or not. Let me know. Can you read this box in the middle here that says 5X LFOs? Is that legible? Because if it's not legible, there's no point in me doing this exercise. So, Harmonic says yes. Okay, so Harmonic Sonics may be young. Can an old person tell me if it's legible? Garen says it's quite legible. Garen is also a young person. So, and Conductive is, I'm going to say everybody's young. The mean age is probably 50s, right? Okay. All right. So this is out of the manual for the Modwave. Okay. So this is I love these. I live and die by the flowchart. At work, of all places. This is the structure of the Modwave. Okay, so Modwave has two-part multi-timbral, has 2 layers, layer A and layer B, and they're identical. So the manual shows you layer A, and here it is. Within a program, that is the thing that you load up. Like if you load a preset, you can load a performance, which is going to load sounds onto layer A and layer B at the same time, or you can load a program which loads sounds onto a single layer. Okay, and a program is where we think of when you think of a synth, like pick out polysynth with that single timbral, like modal Cobalt 8. All right, so when you think of the Cobalt 8, it has some oscillators, filters, effects, modulation things. Okay, that's a layer in Korg Modwave. In Korg speak, okay? A layer, think of a layer as one synthesizer, okay? It's got some oscillators. In this case, the Modwave has 2 oscillators, and each oscillator can have 2 wavetables layered together. So you could think of that as like 2 oscillators, but really, okay, so they're gonna call it one. But it's got these 2 oscillators and then a sub, okay? And these all go down into a stereo mixer, okay? And then that goes out into a filter, and then into the amp. Okay, so if you've got a filter envelope, that's this. An amp envelope would be controlling this thing. There is a mod matrix. I'm not going to disassemble this. I'm not doing a synth review, but this is the shape of this thing. And so within a voice, you have 5 LFOs and 4 envelopes, and you can point them through the mod matrix to whatever. It has mod processors. There are videos out there on what a mod processor is, but basically it's a thing that will take modulation input. So envelopes, LFOs, you're playing, what note you're playing, mod wheel, probably breath controller, MIDI CC controllers, whatever, including step sequencer lanes. I'll get to that in a minute. Mix them all together and then spit them out somewhere. You've got 2 of those per layer. Okay. When we get to the multipooly, this number goes up. Right, and then it goes out into our effects, and then out into our reverb, and then out. All right, and there's other things. The arpeggiator here, there's an arpeggiator on each layer. So there's 2 arpeggiators in a Modwave, and you can have them play at the same time against each other, which is super useful if you like Berlin School. You could do the same thing on the Wavestate, except the Wavestate has, the Wavestate has 4 layers. Okay. So people are like, the Wavestate's hard to program and I'm not really interested in it. I'd rather have something more synthy rather than sampley. Well, that's fine. But note that the Wavestate has 4 layers. Each layer has its own arpeggiator. So if you want to do Berlin School and you like to work in layers, the Wavestate is where you want to start. It's like instant Berlin School. 1 synth, done. Okay. You could have 4 different layers doing different kinds of arpeggiation. You could have a bass, 2 things making a bed, and then you could play the 4th layer as like a lead and let that be your voice. So that's kind of really nice. It's not better than, right? More is not necessarily better, but it's useful depending on what you want to do with it. So an ARP per layer, 4 of them in the Wavestate versus an ARP per layer in the Modwave. All right. And then we haven't got to it yet, but from the Multipooly's perspective, note that it's bookmarked. It's the only thing I have bookmarked in this manual, this structure. The Multipooly, right? Its arpeggiator doesn't live on the layer. Right? Its arpeggiator lives out here in the performance. So there's only one arpeggiator that's shared across 4 layers. Now there's reasons for this. One of the things you can do is have the arpeggiator rotate its notes it's playing across the layers, which is really cool. And I don't know of any other synth that's capable of doing that. And we'll try that when we get to it here today. All right. Anyway, I just wanted to show you the manual generally has a structure diagram. Most synth manuals have some kind of structure diagram if they're good. And so you can use them not to compare contrast, but just to inform you when you know like what the heck you want to be doing. All right. All right. So now I should probably pay attention. We'll look at the chat. You might be saying things. Let me go back to the Modwave. All right. All right. Yes, and everybody's median age is in their 40 to 60. All right. Jeff's old and he can see it. All right, cool. Hey, Davey. And Wookie. Nice. Anyone else who popped in and I missed? Hey, welcome. Let's see. Are we not all young on the cosmological scale of the universe? Yes, Isaac, we are. Compared to a mountain, we have just begun, as Chun said in that movie based on the Destroyer books, right? To a cabbage, I am ancient, but to a mountain, I have not yet begun. I think we talked about that during January. All right, let's see. Let me catch up here. Secret, not so secret thing. You can do key tracking to get 4-port quasi multi-timbral sounds. Each os taking up 1/4 of the keyboard, but it's annoying to program. Are you talking about the Modwave or the Wavestate harmonic? Let me know. I haven't got that deep yet, so. Modwave. Okay, cool. All right, let's see. We just get caught up in the chat here. We're good. Studio 8 effects. Hello. It's so hard to get 4 voices in Eurorack. I know, Jozilla. That's why that project is sitting on the side, because I'm working with a 4-voice MIDI to CV converter, and it's frustrating. Growing up is optional, right? Doug says, how useful is the Chaos pad on the Modwave? Oh, it's super fun. Have you ever played with a Korg Chaosilator? They're super fun. And the Chaos pad on the Modwave is just as fun. Well, maybe not just as fun, but it's super fun. We'll demo. I'll throw up a preset that's got it activated, and we'll deal with that. Anyway, all right. So patch. Let's make a patch on the Modwave. So layer A, layer B. Layer B is currently turned off. Here we're on layer A. Okay. All right. So here's our 2 oscillators, right? And we can select our waves. Let's see. And let's turn the level of oscillator 2 all the way down. We'll turn the level of oscillator 1 all the way up. And we'll select a wave. So what do we got? Got all the usual suspects. There's I'm trying to be family friendly. There is a F ton of wave shapes in here. But let's find something that's not too annoying. So when you're going through wavetables or wave shapes, it's hard to predict. Like, it just takes a lot of experience to know, oh, that one is what I'm looking for. And I don't have that experience. I'm not that good with it. So what I do is I look for something that's got a strong fundamental. So like the note, the lowest sort of part of the note is strong, and then maybe has some sort of high-end buzz or extra timbral thing happening further up. So like this has no fundamental. Right? So like if this is, let's go back. So this is the other thing that annoys me about the Modwave. Well, one thing that annoys me. The very first waveform in the table, in the list of wavetables, please make them the default analog waves. It's not. So I have to, do I actually have to scroll all the way down to the S's to get to saw? I do, don't I? I do. Fine. Or maybe it's somewhere else. Because it said saw, but saw ratio. Well, that's fine. So there's a strong fundamental, right? It's the note. And that's not a strong fundamental. That's all upper harmonics, timbre-wise. So I look for a wavetable that's got a bit of both. So that's pure fundamental. Squares. There we go. Oh, that's even better. So there's a fundamental in there, and then there's an upper harmonic. Okay, that's fine. So we'll start with that. Keep that. Sync plex. Remember that. And that is A. So we're set to just use one. It's an A. Let's do an AB. And then we blend between the two. There's A. And that's B. So that's another way. So you can have one of them be your fundamental. The other one, have your high-end stuff. So we'll blend between the two. Okay. All right, so there's our raw waveform. Let's put some reverb on it. No. Yeah. It's not bad. Because let's face it, if you take just a saw or a sine or a square and you throw some reverb on it, it sounds good. This is really true of a lot of waveforms, maybe all of them. All right, so that's what it is. We go play with the morph here. So we can morph, which is really, I think it's like pulse width modulation or some sort of, it's not wave folding, but it's like slewing the sort of middle of the wave. Right? So I want to modulate that. All right, so we want to point an LFO at OS1 morph. Right? I know how to do that in software. I don't know how to do that on the panel here. Let's see. So what do I want to do? Well, here's our LFOs. Oh, look, OS1 morph, OS2 morph. It looks like it's normal to be there. Frequency and intensity. It is. Look at that. Looks like my hips on a Saturday night. Wave bending or stretching. I think people make up those words, Garen, right? If you give me a mathematician, and you got to prove to me that they're a mathematician, and then show me the formula, show me the numbers, the time series, right? I think the the developers, if I know any developers, and I know a lot of developers, right? Picking the name of things is hard, right? And it's the thing you argue about the most, right? So was that TMI Wookie about the hips thing? Okay, anyway. I think they just call it whatever they want. That makes sense. And then the marketing guys come in there like, maybe we can trademark that. Yeah, it's the new trademarked, the hip rolling LFO algorithm. All right, so now we've got this strong fundamental with a bunch of stuff in the high end, and it's changing over time. That's cool. So let's apply a little filtering to it. We'll keep that Poly 6 filter. All right. Let's make a pluck. Make a good pluck, we need a little delay. All right. Not the greatest sound in the world, but I mean, we started with an interesting timbre. We've got a little delay, a little reverb on it. A little too much reverb, probably. And let's go to that delay. Can we do a stereo delay instead? Like ping pong? Let's see. I bet it's in the type. But I got to change the type. Left, center, right delay. There we go. Seems a little. Not what I wanted. Go back. Let's see. Harmonic says I made a wavetable out of prime numbers. That's cool. I think I've seen that wavetable, or at least in the Iridium, there's a wavetable called primes that may be similar. Okay, Wookie. Garen says, I don't disagree about naming. In Vital, they call it stretch. And there are two kinds. Moto calls it something else. I know, right? So the hardest part of software development is picking the names for things. And the second hardest thing is picking the verbs for behavior, right? Keith Crossley, math waves are based on math. I have his free pack. They're interesting. Yep. There's a ton of stuff. I saw a bunch of, somewhere along the line, I ran across like a GitHub repo that was full of somebody's like 60,000 wavetables. And it was like algorithmically generated. They wrote a Python script that just sort of did permutations. The problem with that, not a problem. The part that makes me go, meh, whatever. And I'm not putting down the people who did the effort. Thank you for doing that work. The problem is out of 60,000 wavetables, like 55,000 of them are timbrally, when they come out the speaker, the same, right? Or close enough for government work. So what you're doing is when you pull down a 60,000 wavetable library, you're sort of committing yourself to like spending a lot of time walking through wavetables going, where's something different, right? So anyway, it's all good. Yeah, go ahead and make your own. Well, Andy, what is the name? Andy, if you're still here, Synchrotron, what is the name of the wave editing tool you've been using? You've been talking about you've been using a web app or something. Somebody's got a site where they've got a JavaScript app for slicing and dicing. Andy, yeah, you were talking about it in your stream on Saturday. You said you've been playing with something called like Table Toy, Wave Toy, something like that. Carve Toy, that's it. Yeah, and it's for making wavetables, isn't it? So, I don't know. So, Google Carve Toy. It's interesting. So, all right, where was I? Anyway, this is fine. We need more level. As soon as you put reverb and delay on something, it gets a little on the quiet side. Whoops, hang on a second. I have two computers here and I keep changing the screens on the wrong one. There we go. All right, so that's layer A. All right, well, let's put something on layer B. let's turn off layer A and turn on layer B. Okay, I am going to load a program on layer B. All right, let's do this. B, not that. I want to go to the performance, and I want to go to program B, and I want to change program B. We're going to load something. Let's load something bassy. Let's do, yeah. No, bass. Go to the B's. Yeah, that's fine. A pad. Ooh, pad with some modulation. Okay. So we'll just load that and keep it. So pretend that we made layer B. So now we turn A and B on together. Carve toy. Post the link to Discord. That's fine. Thanks, Andy. Let's see. Here, let me bring up Discord. I should make Andy an admin. Then he could post it himself. But the problem with admins is once you make them, you can never get rid of them unless they ask to be gotten rid of. So it's tricky. Oh, I haven't loaded Discord on this particular streaming box in a long time because there's a bazillion updates it's going through. Free admin for everyone. No. It's not a control thing. It's that I don't want to ever be in a position where I have to disappoint someone. There we go. Carve toy. Thanks. Let me put this in the chat. Here you go, guys. Interesting wavetable editor. There you go. Thank you, Andy. All right, put that away. Let's see, in there. Okay, I posted it. So that's Modwave. So architecturally, you got 2 layers, right? 2 oscillators with potentially 2 wavetables per. You can morph between. Well, you can mangle them, morph them. You can blend between them. You can, crunch their position, things like that. It's a good tool. I like the Modwave. Some people, I won't say, I know this thought ran through my head. I was about to put words in an invisible person's mouth. I thought when the Multipooly came out, I said, well, that's it for the Modwave. Nobody's going to want that thing anymore. But they're different, okay? Some of the things, different as far as the arpeggiator thing, yes, 2 versus 4 layers, but the layers on the Modwave are stereo, and the layers on the Multipooly are mono, unless you turn on stereo for the mixer. And when you do that on the Multipooly, you lose voices. Your voice count gets consumed. Not badly, like I still haven't had any voice stealing on the Multipooly. There's plenty. I think it's 60 voices. But Modwave appears to be stereo path all the way through. Okay, so, hey, Vicorftron. We're just doing a little comparative patch design across some Korg synths. Yeah, harmonic. Yeah, Andy was the one who found it, so synchrotron. Anyway, so that's the Modwave. And I'm enjoying, I still use all of these synths. Like the album is primarily built on top of these right now. I'd say about 50%. The other half is Omnisphere, right? And I'm trying to move away from Omnisphere a little bit. I like it, but it's been around for so long. It's like a crutch for me. So I'm trying to force myself to learn a few new things. Okay. All right. So let's flip over to the Multipooly, our final synth of the night. Let's do this. This is the one I've got another camera for. All right. This is from last week. So, Multipooly. All right. Now, we looked at the structure of this earlier. So we've got 4 layers here, A, B, C, D. Okay. And this layer rotate function I want to play with. We'll get to that in a bit. Let me flip back so I can see when you guys are talking in the chat. There we go. All right. Again, this, unlike the Opsix or the Wavestate, this is a synth in the subtractive synth family that you're familiar with, right? It's like things, your expectations aren't going to be surprised that much here. I mean, when you get to the nitty gritty, sure. But like if you know how to use a mini Moog, using this will make sense, all right? So we're in layer 1. We have 4 oscillators here. Only the first one's turned on, okay? And we're using classic waveforms, or we could use our digital waveforms. We'll do digital. Wave Shaper, these are the new ones. Well, so the classic waveforms are, I'm not doing a review, but like it's your usual suspects, right? Saw, pulse, triangle, and notice that the waveforms, the ones you expect, the classics are at the beginning of the list. Thank you, Korg. That's what we prefer. Keep those at the top. Doug says, can you get a classic mini Moog bass out of Multipooly? I don't know. Let's find out. Okay, so a classic mini Moog bass would be a 3 oscillator monosynth. So fine. I've got 4 oscillators here on layer A. We'll try this. So we'll go with a saw. Okay. If anyone's rolling your eyes going, ugh, sorry, we're going to do it. All right. Oscillator 2 is also a saw. Oscillator 3 is also a saw, right? We'll do it one step better. No, we'll just do 3. Okay. So, all right. So there they are. So do you hear them? So when we did this on the Opsix, tell you what, let's illustrate something. I've only got 2 oscillators on, 2 saw waveforms. You hear them? Right? They're playing against each other and they are beating. Right? You hear that phasing? When we did that on the Opsix with 2 oscillators, there was no phasing. When I had 2 operators, both with saw waves playing on the Opsix, they were just louder and with no phasing because those are perfect, right? This one, right out the bat, has baked in, what's the, I don't know what the marketing phrase is, right? The components are sort of simulated, the voice boards are simulated, so there's drift and things like that. So right off the bat, 2 oscillators that are ostensibly tuned the same still drift. So that's nice for most people. Most people like that, right? They want that analog sound. And I'm fine with that too. But so we go to 3. Really easy to make a super saw. So on a Moog, we would build it one at a time. So oscillator 2, we'll detune it a little bit. What do I want here? That's pitch envelope. So I know where this is in the app. Where is tuning? Here we go. Shift, tuning. All right, and then we'll turn 3 on, and oh, sorry, 3 on, shift. All right, now let's change their, that's tuning. Now we want to change their octave. So we'll take oscillator 3 down. Right. So I think a classic Moog bass is just 2 oscillators an octave apart, but I'll just do it with 3 and I'll keep 2 of them together. So let them beat a bit. Garen, that's quote vintage. You can adjust that out. Yeah, I know there's you could tell it not to, right? But I think for all 60 voice boards, there's like 60 variants. I was watching the video from Korg guy Luke at Korg UK, right? The only other Luke in the world who I really like, real world Luke. I haven't met any other Lukes. There are a few at my company, but I haven't actually met them, right? But every other Luke I've ever met in person, I didn't like him. Anyway, all right, so that'll do. All right, so let's go to filter. So there are two filters here. It's currently filter, you could set it serial or parallel. I think it defaults to serial. Filter A is currently a multi-poly. Let's do the mini filter. Bring our cutoff down. The video you're talking about was really interesting. Great insights. Yeah, Luke at Korg UK is way... Ian Dixon is great, but Luke at Korg UK is a much better speaker. Now, depending on what you mean, Doug, when you say classic mini Moog bass, you could mean a pluck or sustain. So let's do this. Filter amp. We'll bring our sustain down a bit. Let's see. And then velocity release. Where is the envelope intensity? There we go. A little too bright. A little more decay. Not bad. So no effects or anything. That's just dry, as it would be on the Mini Moog. So I think the Multipooly can do a very nice Mini Moog bass, if that's the kind of bass you're talking about. Like if you want to get real re-spacey, we can detune it more. This one. And then we take the cutoff way down. Oh, I have shift on. Sorry. Audio rate modulation. Happy accident. I had the shift locked. And accidentally turned on something I hadn't intended to turn on. Anyway, back to our synth bass. That's right. That's the other kind of Mini Moog classic bass that you might be meaning. Let's see, let's put an effect on it. Chorus. I don't know. So I like the Multipooly. I think it's an excellent synth. But I don't think it obliviates the need for a Modwave. I think the Modwave does different things differently. And I'm like them both, and I'm going to keep them. I'm also a synthesizer collector, so, you know, your mileage may vary. Take everything I say with a little grain of salt. So, hey, large father. Anyway, where are we? Garen agrees. Davies making face grabbing. So the little purple guy with the blue hair grabbing his cheeks, is that like a cartoon rendition of the kid from Home Alone, you think? You think it was inspired by? I don't know. Anyway, Freddie says, what I had never managed to do, DeepMind 12 and Hydrosynth, was get something close to the eminent Solina sound. I don't even know where to begin. What would that be? String machine? Is that what that is? The Solina string machine? So we're talking square waves, pulse width modulation. I don't know. Let's hang on. We could try. I'm not very good at it. The part of that needs is an ensemble chorus, not a stereo chorus in the classic sense. The string machine's big part of that sound, like that Jean-Michel Jarre sort of string sound from Oxygen, and that's an ensemble chorus. Is like, so my Nord both have in their effects section a chorus and then this thing called ensemble. And when you run a few slightly detuned square waves through there with a nice sort of paddy sort of envelope shape, and then turn on the ensemble chorus, it sounds exactly like the patch that was being used out of Oxygen, that high string synth sound. I absolutely agree. So I'm not sure. We could take a stab at it. Yeah, squares and a monster ensemble. Yeah. Let's see. All right, this might get annoying. Hang on. Boop. And then this. Maybe you want a little. Well, we'll play with the pulse width modulation in a minute. We'll just do 2 oscillators, because back then they didn't have like oodles and oodles of oscillators, right? They had 2. Let's see. And I want some pulse width modulation here. Where's my LFOs again? Pulse width, morph. Hang on. I'm sorry if that's annoying. Hang in there. All right, so that's 1. All right, we'll put those on top of each other. All right, we'll bring it down. If we want, let's try a filters. Oh, we go to more filters. Let's see. What would be appropriate for a Solina string machine filter? Like a band pass, high pass? We take most of the low end off? I don't know. What would work? What's Pro LP? I don't know. Let's find out. All right, so we need to fix our envelope. So we've got a bit of a heck. All right. All right, let's go find our chorus now. Let's see. I don't know if there is a ensemble, Poly 6 ensemble. Let's give it a try. Yeah, it's not even close. I don't know. I have to do some research. We'll keep playing with it though. We'll make it like usable. Where am I? Go back to our filter. Oh, reverb. Always nice. Let's do a reverb preset and cathedral. And then that's cathedral. What is timbre? of how muted it is. Okay. Let's give it some release. Oh, it's the amp and what needs release. There we go. No, that's not a string machine, but it's a decent enough pad. The Selena had 12 oscillators with divide down circuits. Okay, well, so I don't know much about it. I just know, I do know that it really wants an ensemble chorus, and that I can totally nail Jean-Michel Jarre's Selena patch on the Nord A1. So let's try it as a band pass. Burp. All right. Ladder band pass? No. 2-pole band pass? 4-pole band pass. Soft slope. Oh, that's getting there. That's closer. Hey, Enzo. Let's see what other variants are there in here. Rotary? Well, let's stay with that Poly 6. And what other options do I have? Well, string pad helper, string pad magic. This is one of those things where like, give me the button that's labeled win. I want the win button, please. And so everyone's having a good day. We're running a little late. I'm just, so we made a bunch of patches on the Korg synths. Let's see. You said there was 12, 18, how many? 12 oscillators? All right, fine. Let's do, is there a double square? No, there's a double saw. Let's see. It just sounds thicker to me. I don't know. So we'll have to go look up like Selena understanding of how the patches are made. But anyway, I like the Multipooly. I think it works well. It is my current favorite synth because it's, of course, the last one I bought. That's just the way it works, right? All right. Let's see. Harmonic says, let's see. In lieu of a Multipooly, I've been making Waveshaper sounds in Serum to export into Modwave. Oh, yeah. Which is nice, but I'm definitely interested in native in the module. Hey, you know, whatever makes you happy, man. So this was an exercise. I think that's good. I think we're probably good for the day. What do you think? I'm so close. I'm this close to finishing Baldur's Gate 3. I've only owned it for like since it came out, and it's just slowly getting there. Let's see what else. I don't know. I think that's about it. To Andy, I am going to, in deference to Andy, I am going to, what's the word? I'm going to do a fade out, fade in, something like that. Let's see. Let me bring this back up. All right. So we're going to fade out to the, oh, you know what? I don't have a fade out screen. Sorry, Andy. So as I said at the beginning, if you missed it, I'm working on this album. I have 14 tracks sketched out, and I am going to, I have laid out all of my sketches in 1 minute increments to sort of define the album. And that's what you're hearing in the background now. So no fade outs for you. Well, so let me see here. Let's do this. The problem is my fade in here will cheat. So we'll do this. There we go. Now we've got the fade out. All right. There we go. So I'm gonna let this play for about 5 more minutes as we fade out. And these are some snippets of the upcoming album. So I hope you enjoy it. And thanks for spending time with me here at Synth Seeker. And as always, you have a great week coming up. And I wish you well and hope you, hope you buy more synths. You know? Have a good one, guys. Talk to you later.